Okay, let's finish this up. Let's finish up this first map. So we got our countries. We got some labels on here. Just get it to a something you can live with. Um, in fact, actually, you know what? Ugh, you know what I'm looking at. You know what would be helpful? It's all these other things up here. And when we make the final map and the final layout, that's going to go away. But we can fix this a little more. Let's go back here to class up here where we picked what part of the attribute table it's going to be pulling from. We go into this SQL right there. And it says there's no expression defined. Well, let's do a new expression, shall we? And so what this is we can write out it's code. It's how we're speaking to the computer. We're going to say, look, computer, here's what I want you to do. Only label these features, or label some of these features, and as well these features over here too. We can get really creative and complex. But all we're going to do is we'll just say where, and then we drop down here, and it's pulling from that attribute table again. So let's say, in fact, I'm right on it. Continent, remember we saw that when we were exploring the attribute table, is equal to, that's what it's saying, kind of hard to see, but this is just logical thinking right here. So is equal to means is what I'm going to specify here. All right. And we've got the options. These are all the possible values that are in that attribute table. So it's just pulling from there. It's equal to South America. Okay. And if I hit apply, there we go. It's going to get rid of West Africa and Central America. I don't know if this is considered North America. Did it give us a, yeah, it's North America, whatever. Doesn't matter for what we're doing, but that at least got rid of some stuff. So that's kind of a cool deal. Are you with me? So yeah, we'll leave that as is. And now we're good with the labels. And I'm going to hit save because I did some stuff. All right, the next thing I want to do is I want to deal with the colors I have going on here, right? It's just this kind of tannish, kind of orangey tan, I don't know, peach color that's just not pleasant. And it's a default thing. We never stick with the default. So I want to have a nicer looking thing going on here. What I can do is I left click over here in our contents pane. And if I just left click on that, it brings up a few options. Now, number one, I've got these preloaded things that are just, this education, government, health, medical. That's just some kind of preloaded thing. If you're making a map showing a bunch of different, local civic things, cool, that works. You get into some other stuff, just, bright yellow and so on. You've got some cross hatching and cool things. Like if you've got some kind of swamp, mangrove area, you can do that, and as opposed to a more traditional swampy thing. Orchard. So you can do that. Now, if I click on this, just a heads up, it's going to be busy. It's going to take a while to draw. We don't want to use this for just, something like country. So this complex stuff, don't use it too much. It might look kind of cool to start with, but look, it's struggling. Like that looks cool, but it's struggling. So don't do that for this, right? Because it's still drawing. It's still going like, kill me. I can't think this much. So don't do that. Here, I'm just going to click on this simple one to put it out of its misery. All right. And that doesn't even have borders. That's really bad, but we'll leave it there. Okay. To just move forward. And now we're going to go into properties. This is where we can actually control what's happening. So with this one, it zeroed out the outline width. If I bring that up to 1 and hit apply, it'll put our actual national borders back in there. And it gives the color. If I hit the drop down, I can pick anything in here, right? The outline color. So it's this really dark black, which when we get down here to this complex coastline, it can look a bit rough. So if I was doing just say, I just wanted this single color for all the countries, I could hit this drop down And I'd pick something that's not a harsh black, but kind of experiment with something that's a little complementary, kind of a darker brown thing. Let's try, that's kind of a greenish brown. I don't, I don't like it, but it's better, right? But it's a thing where I could kind of keep playing around. That looks a little better, just looks a little less harsh. So you can play around with that. The other thing that we can do in here is if I actually, from here, I hit this back arrow, I got some options. Primary symbology, it says single symbol, which means every single country is going to be drawn in the same way. What I can do is hit this drop down. I've got options. We'll look at some of these later on in future videos. For now, I'm going to select unique values. Okay, and what I want to select from here, field 1, with this drop down, again, you're seeing the theme, right? Attribute table stuff. I want to go down here to color map. This is a nice addition to our attribute table. It's for reference maps like this. Every country is numbered in a way. The numbers don't really mean anything, but it's set up so that you don't have the same number touching, that same number. I said that poorly, but hopefully you follow. But the idea, right? That like Argentina is this pink color right here, Colombia is this other pink color. They're separated, right? So we don't get them confused. So we have 8 different colors that a country can be, and it's set up so that no bordering countries have the same color. That's the idea. I could stick with this pastel thing if I like it. If I don't like it, I can hit this drop down, find some options. Some of these might work. That's a little less intense, kind of nice. Other things, maybe they work, maybe they don't. You can just kind of experiment and see what's going on through here. The main idea is we're just trying to find some kind of color scheme that works, that is attractive. Like I'm going to click this red. That's a bit much. That, at least on this screen, I don't know how you're viewing it, but like right now, Bolivia just looks like it's screaming and angry and all that. I don't like it on my screen. And I could mess with it a little bit. Like it looks like that's number 2 in here. I could click on that one and tweak it a little, see if that were. Oh, we'll see. Now it's kind of better. This, look at me doing stuff, making changes. So I can do that, or I can just say no, it's not for me, and pick something else. Maybe I want to go more greens. Oh, whoops, hold on, I got that. Well, now I've screwed it up. Oh, stop it. How do I click out of this? Can I do, is that just going to do all of them? I don't know. I usually don't mess with it this way. So let's, oh, I know what I'll do. Let's go here. If I click out, now, see, what do we do? This happens, but it's okay. What I'm going to do, let's do this. You know what? Single symbol. I give up. And then I'm just going to go back to unique values. And I'll go back here to color map. And then I'm just kind of resetting it. And then I'll go back to, what was it? This one. And I'll just go back there. All right. I don't know. Maybe I have to hit shift. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe it was something up here. Hold on. This happens. There's all sorts of stuff you can click. And then I'll get into a spot where I'm like, oh, I don't know how to get out of this. Or I wonder, I don't know if that was an option. Anyway, look, here's the deal. We fixed it. We overcame. For now, I'm going to leave it, this green color scheme. Again, not my favorite, but it's good enough for now. So there, I've changed colors. I'm hitting save. I'm cool with that. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go back into our catalog pane. So I'm just along the bottom here. I'm going through these different tabs that are on here. Don't get hung up if you have more tabs or less tabs. Doesn't really matter. But catalog was the first one for me. And if I couldn't find it or if I wasn't sure where it was, again, view, catalog pane, it'll pull it up. Okay, so no biggie there. But I want to bring in this South American cities feature class. And remember, it's points, those three little dots. And so it brings them all in here. And we got a lot of cities. We can right click, we can hit label to see what we're working with. And here's the problem, we got a lot of cities, and you can see it knocks out some of these country labels. Um, that's that's an issue. The more stuff we add onto the map, it's going to be moving stuff, trying to fit stuff, and it doesn't really know like what's really important. But frankly, with a map like this and the scale we're working and all of that, way too many cities we have going on. So let's do another thing, kind of like what we did with labeling only the South American um, continent, right? Same kind of idea, but in this case, I want to actually get rid of some of these points. Okay, I want to pull them out, get rid of them, don't want them. So South American underscore cities, I right click on that and I'm going to scroll down, right? And so it's a case, as I think it's in the last video, like when in doubt, play around, right click and see what you can do, what your different options are, and all of that. And we got a few different ways to do this. Let's go into properties to start with. Okay, and we're going to do two things in here while we're in here. Number one, this SA underscore cities, it's kind of confusing. Let's just rename it and call it cities, right? Simple as that. And we can hit apply, and we can change that up there. And we're just making it look a little prettier. That's sweet. So we got that. Then we'll leave that stuff the same, but come down here to definition query. Same idea as our, labeling just South American stuff. We're going to hit new definition query. And in this case, same idea, but what we're doing is we're saying, hey, just show us, not just the label or whatever, like get rid of the points that don't fit with our thing. And so to make this simple, let's do status. Okay, status is equal to, here's where it gets a little funky. I was just thinking do, capital cities. But it's a case where we have, national capital. Like if we do that, let's just do that and hit apply. Okay, and so we got a few, but then we don't have like, no Lima or La Paz or whatever. So that's not there. So let's edit this. Okay, so those are just straight national capitals. But we had some other options here, national and provincial capital, meaning it's the national capital, but it's also the capital of like a state capital, right? It would be the idea of Sacramento was the capital of California, but also all of the United States. That's how we can think of that there. So like that, what's this one? National capital and provincial capital enclave. A little fancier, I guess. Provincial capital, we don't really need. Again, that's kind of like state capitals, but let's do this. We'll add a clause. So we'll leave that. Status is equal to national capital, add clause, and then here we want to put or. Okay. And let's fill this out and then I'll explain why we're selecting or. So then select a field, status is equal to, and let's do this national and provincial capital. We pick or because it's saying go through our table and find out where it says national capital, right? Or if it doesn't say national capital, where it says national and provincial capital. If we had and in here, what that's going to do is it's going to look for one record where it says both national capital and provincial capital, which is not going to find anything because it's one or the other in this situation, right? So in this case, we want or. It's national capital or provincial capital. And heck, while we're here, let's just do or status. It's equal to, and let's do that enclave one. And hit apply and hit apply. And what we should see, yes, we have these capital cities popping up in here. Looks beautiful, way more manageable. I like it. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit save. Okay. So I've got that there. I've got this little reddish point, kind of looks like a diamond in there. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't. In this case, I don't. So if I left click on it, just like I did with the country thing, it brings me up to this properties deal. It's got the gallery. So I can come in here, and this is a case where the gallery thing is actually kind of nice because we've got some cool shapes that we can mess around with, right? Turn it into a triangle. I mean, you can do just a simple point like a circle. We have squares, and squares a little point in the middle and different stuff, right? So you can experiment with that. You can also, if you know, like, these are capital cities. So I type in capital, hit enter. It gives me bank accounts. Oh, whoops. I didn't want to do that. Yeah, because it's thinking capital like investment money. Is what it's looking like. So let's try. Okay, so that didn't work. Let's try Capitol, even though that's the building itself. Well, that's closer to what I was thinking. It gives me the star option. And I'm sure yeah, there you go. That second one. So you can see the tags. That's what it's pulling from when you're searching. So I could just do a star if I like that. Or we have these push pin things to kind of look like a digital map. If you like that, cool. If you want to do this, cool. If you don't like this, X that out. Maybe you like something like that, right? That's kind of a cool thing, but maybe I don't like the red or it's too big or whatever. I can drop the size down to an 8 point, hit apply. Maybe I like that color. It's kind of, it's not working with my green scheme, right? Maybe I want some kind of like light yellow to complement it a little better, to look a little nicer. I can do that. All right. The other thing I want to do is, and the easiest way, either hit the label properties tab or right click and I can go to labeling properties. Takes me to the same place. All right. And if I go to symbol again, it's Tahoma. I don't want Tahoma. And what I want to do is have something close, like in the same family that looks similar. So that first one, I believe, is this 20th century one that I just wound up with. I can hit this 20th century condensed, which here, if I hit apply, it matches, but it's kind of squished together, right? Maybe I want it a little bit bigger. Let's try 12. See what that looks like. And that's good. Like if we look in Bolivia, the country name, bigger, clearly different. The capital city, smaller, but it works together, right? It's complementary there. We're being deliberate with this stuff. So I'll keep that for now. I'm going to hit save. And what I want you to do, go ahead for your final project, bring in one more of these things here. You could bring in, if you want, the rivers. See what that looks like. That's kind of pretty. I can make it a nice, beautiful blue. You can bring in this lat long carto. These are latitude and longitude lines. There's a lot going on in here. We'll mess with these. I use these a lot. I like to drag it. Oh, that's something I haven't talked about yet. That's one thing. Let's go back here. What you can do to change your drawing order of how stuff is displayed is left click, hold. Oh, hold on, I did that wrong. Left click and hold and just drag. And you can see it moves that bar around. And so if I bring that to the bottom, what it's doing is it's changing the order in which it's drawn, hence drawing order, right? So that lat long carto, latitude and longitude lines, if I put that all the way on the bottom, it draws that first. Then on top of that layer, it draws our countries. Then on top of that layer, it draws our rivers. And on top of that layer, it draws our cities, right? Now this lat long thing, it's a lot going on. This is another case where right click, go into properties, definition query, new definition query. I'm just going through this quickly. You can stop the video, go back. You don't even have to put this in, but I'm just going to show you. So where, and then we've got these options here, like degree 10, degree 15. And so like what degree 15 is, it's every 15th degree of latitude and longitude. So let's just do degree 15 is equal to yes. And if I hit apply, right, it gets rid of every 10th and 20th and those extra ones. So it goes 0 degrees, 15 degrees, 30 degrees, 45, and so on. So it just looks a little cleaner. In fact, you know what you can do? This is an old school trick that I do. You can put this back there. Looks kind of slick. But what I'm going to do, right click, I can't help myself. I have fun playing with this. Let's go back into properties. On map, though, should have been clear with that. So up where it says map, right click, properties. Then what I'm going to do right off the bat is I'm going to change this to South America, just because that's what we're dealing with. And it's less generic. But on background color, I'm going to hit this drop down, right? And I can pick like a blue to look like the ocean, right? So it behind the screen there, it makes it blue. Pretty slick, looking pretty good. And then what I can do, I can hit OK. I can change this lat long cartography thing here, change that color, like a cool move, change it to white, right? And hit apply. And that just looks mappy right there. Or if I didn't like that, I could do like a darker blue. So it contrasts. It's up to you, however you want to do it, if you want to do it. But that's an option. I'm going to hit save. And I would change, like if I'm really getting nerdy about this and I had the rivers in here, I would change these rivers, the color of the rivers, to the same color I used for the on this one, for the ocean that I've got there, right? And of course, I can't remember. Was it this one? Yeah, I think it was. So it just kind of looks like water, right? That's the idea. So hit save. All right, I got a good looking map. And so once you're done making your map look pretty, however you want to make it, don't make it look just like this. Put your voice on it, right? Do something extra special with it. But once you have this, it's time to create a layout. So what we want to do is go insert and new layout. And a layout, I click on that and it gives me these options. But a layout is like getting ready to print it out. And even if you're not going to print it, like with this and future assignments, we're going to export it as a JPEG. You'll upload it to Canvas to turn it in. But we're still treating it like something that we're printing. And so you can see, like we have letter, 8.5 by 11 inch, pretty standard American page size, legal size, tabloid, this ANSI 17 by 22. These are standard dimensions if you have access to a wide format printer, what we call a plotter. We can make big posters, right? For this, I want you to select just portrait letter right here, nothing fancy. So I'm going to left click that. And it gives me a blank piece of paper. And what I need to do is I need to go to insert and then map frame over here and pick just South America. Okay. And what it does, it changes your cursor. And I'm just going to left click, hold, and drag like if I was zooming in. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of border, but I'm going to cover the main part of the map, right? And that's a big thing with this stuff. And it's an issue that some students have. Like, I'm making a map, cover that page with the map itself, right? Don't put it up in the corner and have all this white space. Fill the page as best you can. Okay. And with this, what we can do now, like, so you can see my cursor is this way. If I left click and hold, I'm moving the map, the frame. Oh no, it's clicking on stuff and locking to things, but I'm moving the whole map frame. I'm not moving the map. If I want to zoom in, which in this case I do, let's get a little tighter in here. I right click and hit activate. And that sounds pretty official, like activate. But now I can zoom in. If I just roll my little mouse scroll wheel, I can zoom in and out. I can do my shift trick. And that's annoying. So like San Jose is up there, but we don't actually have Costa Rica. Okay, whatever. We're not gonna worry about this stuff. It's our first map. We're cool. But I'm gonna do my little trick here. Try to get as tight as possible. That looks gorgeous to me. And so, yeah, I'm zoomed in. I'm happy, right? And if I hold on, let's go. Is it layout? Yeah, if I click on layout up here, close activation, that brings me back just to the page where I'm not going to keep zooming in and out. Okay, save what you got. Two quick things. Number one, just to get you used to this kind of stuff, I want you to put in a rectangle. And so come from up here, this little, and I'm in, where's it? Insert right now. But up here, I got some different options, things I can do. I want polygon, I want rectangle, and draw a little rectangle down here in the corner, somewhere out in the ocean where it's not covering anything up. All right. And if you look over in my contents pane, I've got it over here. I can right click on rectangle, go to properties, and it gives me options on the right now. Symbol, I'm going to actually put some color in there, make it opaque. And what I want you to put in this rectangle is just using this little straight text. I want you to put in a title, right? South America, right? You just hit enter. Oh, wait, I have to click out. There we go. Click out of it. All right, here's where I can change that text, change the text symbol. You better believe I'm not going to have Tahoma. So pick something that looks good, make it the right size. So put in a title, give me a north arrow, select something from here, right? And give me a scale bar. And you can just kind of play around with it. I'm not too concerned with what it looks like at this point, but just give me that stuff. Okay? Just title, north arrow, scale bar. We'll call it good. Have deliberate things selected in here. Make this as attractive as you can. It's your first map. Show some pride, show some love and dedication to the craft right here. But once you get that all gorgeous, right? Make the title proper, all this stuff. From here, we want to go to share. Actually, first move, I'm going to hit save. And then we go to share. We go to export layout. And this drop down gives you some default things. Just left click on the actual page up here. File type, select JPEG. If it isn't already selected, it's going to default to saving it in, this is actually my last thing I was messing with, this Santa Monica Roads thing that you're going to see in the next video. I don't want it there, so I can just hit browse. That's kind of annoying. So I'd go into where we got documents here, ArcGIS, projects. Come on. First map. Where are you, first map? Are you not even here? Is that what I called you? Oh, it's up top. That's why. Okay. So in here, in fact, I can actually, just go here. For name, I'm not going to call it layout. I'm going to call it S_America. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to leave everything else the same and export. Okay. And what that'll do is it will save a JPEG. I can go to view exported file. And it brings me up a preview of that, what it looks like. But this file is what you're turning in, what you're uploading to Canvas to turn in. Okay. This is what I want to see. So remember where you save it, give it a name that makes sense. And then when you're done with it, find the appropriate assignment spot in Canvas, the first map, South America map, whatever assignment, upload it. This is what you're actually submitting. You dig? First map, baby. Way to go, geographers. I'm proud of you. Looking forward to seeing these. Good work.